New Falls Count Anywhere on the Earnestly podcast. I'm your host, Ernest EJ Christian. We are now approached. It is go home week. It is SummerSlam week. 2 nights at MetLife Stadium, which, by the way, I will be there myself. Not at SummerSlam, but I'll be at MetLife Stadium for another event next month. But of course, joined here by the guy, Rob the Genius, host of the Rob the Genius podcast, also co-host of 1/3 rather of the Mindless Wrestling podcast. Rob, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, and now I will be there for night one.
Oh, you are going?
Yeah,
Breaking news.
Yes, so I'm going night one because look, Jersey's about a hour or two from here, somewhere between like 90 minutes and a half hour from here, and
I'll be there. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I said 90 minutes and 2 hours. I'm sorry, not half hour.
Right. Yeah, I'm going there on August 28th for a concert. I'm going to see System of a Down and Korn in concert. My wife and I are going to fly up there for a couple of days to New York, go to Jersey for the show itself, and just have a good time without the kids. It's our first vacation without the kids since being parents, so it's a big deal. We go on vacation, but we go without the kids. This time without the kids for once, so looking forward to that. But should be a fun day. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Did you have a choice in night 1 and 2? Or did you just pick night 1 just because it's more convenient for you?
I was only going to do one night. I wasn't going to. So it came down to just what matches ended up on which night. If the right match, there of course there's certain people I want to see, and it just came down to what night those people were going to be on, and it just so happened that both Roman and Charlotte are on night 1, so I picked night 1.
Oh, hey, how convenient, buddy.
Yeah.
You let me asking how the prices run for you on that one.
I got a ticket for like $250, I think.
Okay. Are you sitting on upper deck? Or are you sitting a little different?
No, it's mid-level. So these aren't.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, these aren't WrestleMania prices. So because I mean, and this is an easy trip for me. It's Amtrak, about 2-hour Amtrak ride from here. So got a room for the night. Going up Saturday, checking in, and then going to the show, and then checking out Sunday morning, coming back home.
Very simple, very to the point. Is any of the Minus boys going to you?
Nope, not this time. Because Jason can't do this one, but we are looking to hook up in October because TNA Bound for Glory is up in his neck of the woods in Massachusetts. So I just gotta, if I get a flight up there, then I think we're gonna do that one.
All right, not bad. So in addition to previewing SummerSlam both nights here tonight on the show, we also going to reveal tonight our top 5. You know I love doing top 5s. We're going to do our top 5 personal favorite SummerSlam matches of all time. You and I have our own list. We just put it together. I think today actually put it together finally. And then we're going to react as well. Oh no, we're going to actually. This year is also the 20th anniversary of SummerSlam 2005, which will we'll touch on that one on the back end of the show. All right, let's get to the crew to go out the main event right off the bat. It is SummerSlam 2025. It will take place at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, East from New Jersey, home of the greatest football team in the world, the New York Giants. Sorry, Rob had to say that. It is. Is there a tagline for this thing this year? I don't see a tagline on this one. I don't see a tagline on this one, so it is what it is. All right, you got 6 matches for each night. Cardi B will be serving as the hostess of the event. I'll be on Peacock, of course. There's also NBC. All right, let's get to the first match here. We're going to cover. 1 second to get down here to the. There we go. All right, first match, singles match. Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross with Charlotte in his corner. If Kross wins, Zayn has to say the words, "Kross was right." If Zayn wins, Kross must say, "I was wrong." Very simple match, to the point. I do like the build here, mainly for Karrion Kross. It feels like this is the first thing he has done the main roster at any point, in either of the times he's been on the main roster, where actually he's doing something that's actually really cool.
I agree, and look, I give all the credit in the world. Look, that guy's been doing everything he possibly can to get more time on TV this year, and so like you can't, when like you got to take your hat off to him for that.
Yeah. Um. Now these two met at National Champions actually, where Sami Zayn won that match. I have a
Yeah.
feeling. I have a feeling Cross wins this one.
Okay. I think. Again, well, I said the United Champions that if they have any intention of doing anything with him, then he needed to then win that one, but he did not. So but I'm going to say it again. If they have any intention of doing anything with him, then he needs to win this match. Um, and of course, and they've gotten him. There've been several times where they've gotten him to this point, and then they always book him to lose. So if there's any, I mean, yeah, if there's any chance, if they're going to do something with him, then then he needs to win this match. Um, just point blank. If not,
Right.
then if they just have him lose here, then you know what? It's I mean, because his contract is reportedly up sometime this summer. Um, I mean, if he loses this, then it's you know, then what are we doing? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go Cross on this one. Are you going to Cross as well?
yeah. I think he needs to win this one. If it, like I said, they're gonna do anything. He needs to win this one. So I'm gonna pick him to win.
All right. Good pick. I like it. All right, next match here we have. Well, I'll save this one because the order is kind of jacked up here, but we'll figure it out. All right, we have a tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship between Judgment Day of Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, your girl. Where you going with this one, Rob?
Okay, well, obviously I'm rooting for Charlotte and Alexa to win.
You don't say.
Yeah, of course. Um, although I get the feeling that they might stretch it out for one more month to the next pay-per-view.
Right.
So I'm going to go against my rooting interest you know, and pick the Judgment Day to win, or at least to hold on to
Um,
the titles.
I I don't know. I think the story here is Charlotte and Alexa, and I think if you put the titles on them, whether or not it's on at SummerSlam or another event down the road, I think the story here is just Charlotte and Alexa, and if you put the titles on them now, it only adds more time to the story. I think this story can actually extend probably to next year, honestly. But I think you
Oh,
can only do that if you have the titles on them because there's more story to tell with the belts. So you put the story the belt on them. They hold for about 4 or 5 months. They lose the belt and then have the breakup, and then you have the match either at Royal Rumble or at WrestleMania next year.
I agree with that. I guess it's just um right now the story is only about them. So like because I mean they've had some matches, some singles matches with Raquel and Roxanne, but I wouldn't quite call it a feud just yet.
Yeah.
So if they want to make that into a feud, then I do think they need to put them off winning for to the next pay-per-view. But if the story really is just going to be about the two of them, then yeah, you go ahead and put the belt on them and get rolling.
Um, this is their first match, right? I guess these two match up, right? This is the first match.
That was their first match, like
Tag match, like actual
two
tag match,
on
not
on
the
the
like the 4-way and all that stuff.
yeah, it's their first 2-on-2 match. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put Charlotte and Alexa because I think the story starts now. You have 4 months to build. You lose the titles somewhere, where it's Survivor Series or somewhere in those events down the road, or in Rumble, and then you have the match. So I think you're eventually gonna have. I think you're targeting right now based on what you're seeing here, 9 months out. Alexa and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania next year. That's what you're looking at based on the story they're telling us right now. And Charlotte will be the heel. Obviously, Alexa will be. This is Alexa's comeback, if you call that, because she's been gone for a couple of years. She got back recently, so this is the way you build it, and you build it against who we believe is the GOAT, in a division, which is Charlotte Flair. So this is the way you do it. And you tell a really compelling story. This kind of has a mega power feel to it too. Also, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I also think, I mean, because I've seen some people on Twitter suggest that Alexa should be the one to turn. I think that'd be really stupid. Because they're not going to boo her. She's one of those people that they don't boo. Um, that people just don't boo like that.
No, they're not going to boo her.
So
They're going to boo Charlotte. No,
yeah, and
right.
so and right now, I mean the way you do it is because right now, I mean they have been getting Charlotte kind of like painting her in a more sympathetic light, and so what you
Yeah.
do is just when you've reached that point of peak sympathy and all of that stuff, you have her revert to
Then you pull
her
a rug.
true colors.
You pull the rug, but you need it. But
Yeah,
you need time to do that. So you put the belts
yeah,
on now, have a great tag team run, and then
right.
you start. Like I say, you pull influence from the mega powers. You show clues here and there of his dissension here and there. Although it's hard to do that now because it's in this day and age, when you book wrestling, it's you kind of know where it's going. Is this how they do it? How they get to, how they pull the story? Is it interesting enough to keep you compelled until they get to the true end of the story? But
Well,
this is
that's
where
where
it's
you
going.
got to. Well, that's where I mean, they do have to have some type of feud over the titles with some other
Right.
team. That's where
And
you
let's
have
be
to do
real, right? And let's be real too. Also, Alexa has not really been in the main event spot probably about 6, 7 years, honestly. So this is the
that.
first. This is, I mean, she was doing stuff with Bray and here and there, but she's not any really prominent stuff probably since 2018.
Yeah, and I do think now I've seen some people on social media that want her to that still want her to go back with the Wyatts, and to
Nah,
me that
I'm over that already. I'm done with that. I was,
yeah,
brother, I was done with that 3 years ago. Honestly, real
I
talk.
mean, look, it's just there's no um like there's nothing for her to do with that other than just do spooky stuff, right? Because I mean it's hard like putting her in because they tried putting her and Bianca did like a title match thing a few years ago, and she was kind of half doing the spooky stuff,
Yeah.
and it was I mean it was I mean it's just
Yeah.
it's hard to take that. I mean unless you're the Undertaker, it's always you know taking that type of gimmick and putting it into like a serious title match kind of program. It's just again unless you're the Undertaker, right? With everybody else, it's just because even with Bray, it was a problem because it's like if you had him win the title, then he's doing all this spooky supernatural stuff, and who's supposed to beat him, right? And there
No.
was a problem then, and now I think if you're a fan of hers and you want to see her win any of these women's titles in the future, I don't think you want her doing the spooky stuff.
No, honestly, it works with Bray. It only worked with Bray, and honestly, that story. And let's be real, Rob. That story was already told, and we're good, and that's it.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that one. All right, next match here. We have this which might be the main event. We'll see. We got Gunther versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. What do you got?
Okay. I think because see, my co-host Jason has been a firm believer that this Seth Rollins injury is a work.
Hmm.
Um,
I can't put it
so
past them, though. To be honest, I can't put it past
okay,
anything. I really can't.
so yeah, so there are a lot of conditions here. Okay, if the injuries are work and if they go on last, then my pick is Seth Rollins cashing in the briefcase and walking out with the title. Um, if it's not,
Right.
okay, I don't think okay, I think Punk does not walk out with the title no matter what. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
all right, I think either Gunther retains and it won't be clean. There'll be somebody will run in. Maybe the Braun and Bronson will run in or something. Somebody will run in, and Gunther will retain. Or if the Seth thing doesn't work, then he's going to cash in the briefcase.
Okay. Do you? All right. Seth Rollins injury being a work.
If it
Percentage
is,
chance you think it is a work in your eyes.
I think it's 50-50 now because
Ooh. So Jason is going to sell you on this.
because they haven't um okay because they're still walking around the briefcase. Paul Heyman is still walking around the briefcase.
They haven't actually announced
and
anything either with him and his injury.
they haven't made a formal announcement as to what his injury was, right? So normally they do that. They say, okay, he blown torn ACL, whatever, whatever.
And
Right?
both kayfabe and
Yeah,
in
and
right.
yeah, there hasn't been a real life or kayfabe announcement, and if that thing is really blown, it's been a few weeks. Like I mean, you don't wait this long to get a diagnosis that you tore your ACL or whatever. It's yeah, it's been a few weeks, so I'm at 50-50 now. At first, now when Jason first suggested it, I was like, dude, whatever, right? Because the way that they handled the injury on television, they handled it the way that they would a real one. Like he sat in the corner, like he immediately dropped down the corner. He immediately talked to the referee and talked to Heyman. Then he jumped back out and just took the finisher, and they ended the match and got out of there. And then he was helped to the back. And so, I mean, that's how you handle it if it's real, right? You don't, you know. So because of that, I thought for sure it was real. Um, but he maintained that he thinks it's a work. And one of his points was that they did not come up with a formal diagnosis of any kind. So
The only reason I stopped short of saying it's real, because I look, don't get me wrong. I think there's a part of me that thinks it's the work. I won't go 50-50, but I think there's a healthy percentage. I'll go like 25%, which is healthy. Is that the way Center's main event was booked and the way the show ran after injury? It was very like, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of how you book a show, and that show being also a structured show, television show, where it had to end at 10 o'clock, and the way things ran after that match, don't think Goldberg and Drew McIntyre, not Drew Goldberg and Gunther was supposed to run that long, and then you had all this stuff that happened in between those matches, where they're trying to fill in time for that match, which is very, not like WWE. But maybe that's the swerve. Maybe all that is the swerve for people like you and I, who look at things beyond just what we're presented. You know, who knows? I can't put it past them. Um, I still think it's a real injury, but when the fact they haven't announced anything, either with a kayfabe and real life, um, that there's the timetable, because nobody hear these things. A timetable out. He's out for a while. There's been nothing. And not only that,
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, I think Seth appeared on some show this week, on a podcast this week. Is it Chris Van Vliet? I think it was, maybe. I think
okay. And he was on Rich Eisen. See, when he was on Rich Eisen,
I think he hosted Rich Eisen, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, and then he said then that well, 'cause I think Rich had him on as a guest one day, and then I think he hosted after that,
Right.
and he said then that well, they couldn't get a good look at it because it was too swollen.
Yeah. So again, is
And
it a swerve? Is it a shoot? Is it works? It's shoot? I don't know. But that's the beauty of this, though. That's why I like this. It's okay that, and folks, it's okay not to know the answer, because that's
yeah.
part of the story.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Don't yeah, do not. I mean,
Enjoy
please,
the story. Just enjoy the story.
yes. I mean, if
You know?
look, if it is a work, then that's great. I mean, and they're not making light of real life injuries if this happens to be a work. They're not.
Maybe he did get hurt, but it's not as serious as we thought it is.
Well, and that's the other thing too. It's also, I mean, it is also possible that he did get injured, but it's not as bad. And then also like and yeah, just that's very much a possibility. So you gotta think about that.
So, having said that, how do you think the match is going to go?
All right. All right. So have okay. If I gotta pick one or the other, um. All right.
Is
Since
there a
it's
world? Is there a world CM Punk wins the title? I have a hard time seeing that. Going from taking two big losses to two major main events in the world, major shows.
yeah. I
Huge
think
show in
no.
Spain, and this one.
I don't. I think so. I think okay. Setting aside Okay, setting aside the possibility it's a work, let's just say if it's not, let's just say it's not a work for right now.
Right.
Um, then Gunther wins. Still, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm there. If Punk wins, there is no way he's walking out of MetLife with that title. There's no way.
Or do you think?
If Punk wins, Seth Rollins is cashing in. I'll lay it out for you. Punk wins. Gunther beats his ass after the match. Gunther leaves the ring. Seth comes out, catches in. Very simple. Very simple to write that
Yeah.
story. So um because because I believe it's because I still lean closer to it being a real injury. I'm going to say Gunther wins. That's what I'm not gonna stick to my story. I'm not gonna stick to my story because I just think there's a chance that there's a healthy chance that Seth's injury is a work. So I'll go Gunther, but definitely going to open up the possibility of Seth catching in on Punk if Punk wins. So all right, next match here we got a tag match between Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. First things first, Rob. Are you a Jelly Roll fan? Music wise,
Not really.
music
I mean,
music wise.
I'm indifferent. I'm.
Because I don't get I don't get the appeal. Look, I'm not saying he's not talented for the record. I just don't get the appeal. What is there a story here? I guess I don't know, but he's been lining up the charts and he's been fairly one of the more like hot button artists in the last year or so, calendar year anyway. So I'm trying to figure out what the appeal is of Jelly Roll.
I don't. But you know what? At this point, I I've stopped questioning why how people get popular. If it, as long as it's legit, it's
He can sing.
and
I mean, I'm not saying he can't sing. Brother can sing.
yeah, I mean, I just because look, there are people who again, there are people who connect with artists. I mean, well, like with Taylor Swift, right? I mean, we talked about that. I mean, like she connects with those people, right?
Yep.
And even though I mean, she makes some catchy pop songs, yes, but for me, I still don't like her having this level of devotion from people is still kind of like, oh, okay, how'd that happen? But it did, and so um, you know, th-
I've had
so
that.
yeah,
I've had that podcast where last couple of years where like with Taylor Swift. I know we'll go off the beaten path a little bit here, but you know, like it has that Elvis, Michael Jackson, Beatles kind of feel to it. Where but the thing was with those three people I just mentioned, were special. There's something special that stuck out that we can understand why. We understood why. But Taylor Swift's like, yeah, she's good, but I don't. What's the extra thing that I'm not getting here? But that's neither here or there.
yeah, but so no, no, I don't know who the Jelly Roll fan base is particularly. I don't know who it is. But it's there, it's real. So and I'm not gonna, you know what, I'm not gonna hate on it.
Yeah. Um. There's no way in the real world. There's no way in hell that Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul loses to freaking Jelly Roll and
Well,
Loses
no,
and
but
Randy
this is the fun celebrity match, so you know what happens here.
Orton and Jelly Roll wins.
Yes. Yes.
There will be. I will say right now to not bury Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. There'll be some shenanigans. They want. They're not going to win clean. They ain't winning clean. In fact, is this false count anywhere kind of
I
thing?
I don't know, but um, because look, I mean, Bad Damian Priest and Bad Bunny shouldn't have beaten Miz and John Morrison on paper, right? I mean,
Right.
so, but and look,
At least, at least Bad Bunny
and
sold that well though, man. Bad Bunny did a great job selling that.
oh yeah, and but you know what? And here's the thing, like I fully expect Jelly Roll to be 100 times better in the ring than anybody thinks he's gonna be.
Yeah.
Because here's the, because we've gotten to the point now, like if they put you in the ring, then if they, then you're ready. Um, and if they don't think you are, then they don't, because according to the reports, Travis Scott is not a thing anymore, and
He's terrible.
because he just, according to the reports, he either wasn't putting in the time or he just wasn't getting it. So, um, And now, I mean, now if they're
God,
gonna put this, and look, there was a time where they did put celebrities in these matches, and they would barely do anything if they hadn't picked it up enough, you know. But now, yeah, I fully assume that that if they're putting him in the ring, then he's ready to go, and he's gonna be better than anybody thinks. And because we saw that with Logan, we saw that Bad Bunny, saw that Johnny Knoxville. So yeah, so I fully expect him. I think he will do fine, and I fully expect. Yeah, I expect him. I expect him and Randy to win.
yeah, I do too. All right, next match here. We got the WWE Women's Championship between Tiffany Stratton, and Jade Cargill. Two girls that I still don't think they're ready for the big time just yet. Tiffany Stratton,
Yeah,
obviously champion, feels like she got fast tracked. Well, she did get fast tracked. She's gotten better. I will say she's gotten better. I still have my doubts. I'm not sure she's in the right role. Like you and I both agree on that. She should be a heel, but that's neither here nor there. Jade still kind of green, but it's kind of shocking. Like Jade's now working with someone that's kind of like I'm not sure how many years Stratton's been in the industry and working in wrestling, not just WWE, but in general. But if they're putting in a match with Tiffany Stratton, they must feel she's ready to go now because this is not her like working with Naomi when Naomi is a pro. So I mean, it,
yeah.
it
I mean,
feels like it feels like Jade is going to win this match. I feel like they really want to fast track Jade to being the champion. They had eyes on her for years to being the next person in this division, and I think they're gonna take advantage of it now while they could. So give me Jade in this one.
yeah. I'm honestly not sure because I mean, I feel like they wouldn't put her in this match if they didn't feel like she was ready to win.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm hanging on here. Because just because with her size and all of that, if you have her start, you can't, you got to be real judicious or real careful with when you have her take losses, right? Because, um, and how you have her take losses. So I don't think that, yeah, I mean, and they can't keep putting it off with her. Like at some point, like you got to go and see and just see whether she has it or not.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I agree.
because if you keep putting it off and you keep putting it off, then you're delaying things for everybody else also. So I think I just think at this point, you got to. I mean, you got to just you got to pull the trigger and see what you got with her.
And it does also add more. Well, not really. I mean, Naomi's a champion now. It had Naomi had the briefcase would make more sense that if like say Naomi had a briefcase and then Jade wins, but she gets hurt, whatever, and then she catches in on Naomi catches in on Jade. That could have been a kind of cool thing when then you renew that feud again, reheat that feud again. But no, I think we've seen this coming for a long time. But the last year, they've been really looking at Jade as the next one. Whether or not she's ready or not, I guess they are satisfied with what they've seen. She's worked with obviously some pros at Naomi. Naomi did a good job. I'm really curious how this match goes, how Jay looks, with Tiffany Stratton. Again, I'm not really sure how long Tiffany's been in the industry and if she has a lot of experience to where she can work with Jade. We'll see how that goes. But I think the WWE
Um,
wants to see where this goes, and they see money. They see a lot of money to be made here with Jade, so that go ahead and cash it in now while they could. So give me
yeah.
Jade as well to match.
No, I originally thought that like Naomi was going to cash in a briefcase during this match, so it totally shocked me when she did it, cashed in on
But that's the
during,
beauty of the surprise of evolution. That's the beauty of surprise. And she also did it on in a match she had in a future had nothing to do with.
yeah, and that exactly. So yeah, I don't know how this match is going to go because I mean, like, because with both of them, if you keep it simple and just have them do like the planned spots, it's fine. Um, it's just like when they have to go beyond that and actually like work and do a bunch of stuff in between.
Mhm.
I think honestly, with both of them, that's a struggle for both of them been so far.
Yeah,
So Um, and look, when Tiffany was in there with Trisha, they only gave him 8 minutes at Evolution. Um, and these matches, these matches that she's had since WrestleMania have had run-ins and have been no DQ matches and whatnot. Um,
So does that
so
tell
I,
you that they don't see that they lost confidence in Tiffany? Huh?
um, I, I mean, yeah, I mean, if they don't, yeah, I mean, normally that's a sign that
I
they,
was shocked because I was shocked they put her over Charlotte. Honestly, WrestleMania, but then again,
um,
they got to see it through. And you know what? And credit Hunter for seeing it through. At least say we tried it, it worked or failed.
yeah, and now the
That's how
thing,
it goes. Go ahead.
it's well, because look, she's obviously gotten very popular, and again, that's a lot of it. I mean, a lot of that is, uh, I'll say it's superficial reasons.
Hmm.
Because again, I say she's a talented worker, but there's still some things, to improve on, and her promo segments are, um, I mean, if she's backstage, talking to a camera by herself, she can do very well.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, anytime she's been in a promo segment where she's had to go back and forth with anybody, it's just anywhere from like bland to not good.
Yeah.
Um, and then so far, I mean, they haven't had her and Jay do any type of face to face promo segments for this so far yet. Um, like they both did like a video thing a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago where they, both took turns, like just had their own kind of individual thing talking in the camera. And then last week, Tiffany ran in and saved Jade from getting beat down, but they didn't talk. I mean, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we'll see. Um,
All right. Yeah. Definitely. All right. And then the final match here, which should probably be the main event, but we'll see. I say the main event only because of the name value, of course. Obviously Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman. I gotta tell you, the build up's been pretty cool. Um, Watching Raw, Monday night rather, and that whole how the Raw ended, with Bronson and Braun. By the way, I love what they're doing, Braun here. You're seeing a star. Like I think Braun Breaker, the way they're using him again, if the Seth thing, whether or not to work or a real thing, um, giving Braun Breaker a chance to shine is very smart. And you're seeing him like building this monster. You know, it has the Brock Lesnar feel to it a little bit. Although it's close to his dad, of course, but it's giving some room to breathe for these two guys. Bronson Reed matters in a big way. Braun Breaker's becoming a star. Well, how that plays out with Seth down the road, we'll see how that plays out. But um, the way Raw ended on Monday, I loved it. I thought it was really cool having them destroy Roman, destroy Jey Uso. It adds more spice to the match. I'm assuming it's the main event because it's because of the name value, because Roman involved in this. We'll see. Having said that, um, I'll go Roman and Jay just because it's Roman and Jay. That's the story there. I think Braun and Bronson could lose this match and not really get hurt that much at all.
yeah,
What
and
do you think?
plus, I mean, you can't. I mean, they took the man's shoes Monday. You can't go.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you saw that shit. Taking the man's shoes,
Oh man!
fucking
So of course,
Bronson.
a lot of people were posting that Patrice O'Neal clip where he says, yeah, he says the guys, if your arm moving, take his socks.
Yeah,
And so a lot of people were posting that after that was, and so yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't. Yeah, I mean, you can't have them lose after that happened to them. I mean,
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go Roman and Jay for this one. Do you think this is the main event? Like, what is the main event here? Because like, there's an argument that this match could be main event. Gunther and Punk could be the main event. Some people said that the possibility that you can look at Jade and Tiffany's main event. I doubt that part, but
there's zero chance that happened. That's gonna be the
yeah,
main event.
I think this is the main event, right? You would say?
It's either this or Gunther and Punk. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. And I think depending on the placement of these matches will determine where Seth Rollins could get involved. Like if the show closes with Punk and Gunther, there's a massive clue that something big's gonna happen,
yeah,
or not.
exactly.
Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. So, all
Well,
right.
because if the injury is real and they didn't, okay, I will say this: if the injury is real and they do end with if Gunther and Punk do close it and the injury is real, then I think there's a small chance that Punk does win. But yeah, right now I'm not picking him to win right now.
Well, I'll be honest right now. Punk doesn't need a title. He doesn't need a title.
We don't need it, but I mean,
In my opinion. I mean,
no, but I mean, he's arguing. I mean, he's easily like the second or third most popular guy there
oh yeah,
after Cody and Roman, and then depending on when, and then some weeks he's more popular than Cody even.
yeah,
So, um, like you don't not ever give him the title. I mean, it's something. I mean,
right,
even if it's for a short, or whatever. But
right. All right, that's night one. Which you'll be there in the building for that one. All
yes,
right, night number 2. Here we go. Sunday night. We have a 6-pack TLC match, table ladders and chairs, for the WWE Tag Team Championship between the Wyatt Six of Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy versus Andrade and Rey Fenix versus DIY of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus Fraxium of Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus the Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin versus the Street Profits of Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. All of a sudden, man, the tag team picture now, we complained for years that they haven't done shit with it. It's gotten a little spicy this last couple months.
well, the SmackDown division has gotten very good,
Yeah,
and I mean, it's been like a highlight of of the show every week. So,
yeah,
and it's good to see all of them get the chance to do this. And
right, right.
so I think for right now, I think the Wyatts just got the belt, so I think they will keep them. I think they'll survive this one. I think.
Yeah, I'm there too. I was gonna say maybe the Profits, but I think the Wyatts got the belts, and I think they really want to give the Wyatts a really good chance to matter because when Bray died, obviously they tried, and for the first couple months it was okay to hit, but then like obviously once you realize that it's not Bray Wyatt, it's like okay, but anything to put some shine on the Wyatt Six to give it a chance to shine, you give it a shot. So I think for the sake of this, give it to the Wyatt Six to win the tag titles, or keep retaining tag titles rather, and then we'll figure it out from there. So I'm with you there too. Also, all right,
Yeah.
we have the singles match for the IC Championship between Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles. Another good build here too. Also,
Yeah.
AJ and the Kabuki Warriors defeated Dominic and Judgment Day on Monday Night Raw. I've told you on record since WrestleMania, I want Dominic to be a long-term champion. He has honky tonk man vibes to him in the sense that, he's a sneaky, conniving little son of a bitch. You don't want him to lose the title too soon because the more heat he gets, the better. And it also means that whoever gets that title eventually down the road, it's going to matter. Okay. I don't think AJ needs the title just yet, anyway, or at all for that matter. I think Dominic should keep the title. I think Dominic will retain here, actually.
All right. Yeah, I think Dominic definitely. Yeah, I think he definitely holds on to it here.
He won't win it clean. That's
Oh, no, 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 no.
the whole point.
And he shouldn't win it. He shouldn't win it clean. I just it man it irritates the heck out of me when people you know suggest that like heel champions should win matches clean. And like, no, I
I
mean,
agree.
if it's against
I,
somebody like beneath them, sure, but against against anybody who's considered like a higher level person, no, they shouldn't win clean. Come on, I
yeah,
mean,
totally with you on that one. Totally with you on that one. So I agree. Dominic retains. All right, we have the steel cage match, which I predicted months ago that this feud will go to a cage of some sort by SummerSlam for the WWE US Championship between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Of course, these guys met at Night of Champions, where Solo did beat Jacob Fatu back in was it May or June? I think it was late May, I think. Anyway, Night of Champions, but this one's in a cage match. You like this one, buddy?
I think Solo hangs on. he's got too many
Really?
helpers. Yeah, yeah, he's got way too many helpers. Um he's got Tomatonga, he's got JC Mateo, and he's got Talatonga. So he's got three guys to help him. As far as we know, Jacob just has Jimmy Uso. So I mean, I think I think it's the numbers game here.
I agree. I think we're building to a War Games match at Survivor Series where eventually Fatu, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns. I think we know this too. We've seen in the past. There's a lot of value in being chase mode. Jacob Fatu right now being chase mode is only going to help him out. Where it matters down the road. I think he'll beat Solo eventually. Whether it's a Rumble next, because this feud's not going for a while. This feud can go honestly past WrestleMania next year because there's so many tentacles in this feud. It's not just Solo and Jacob. It's other people involved now, and you just added more new blood to the feud now. On top of that, so in that retrospect, I think Solo does win. Obviously not clean, and we're on our way to a War Games match where Roman will get involved. The Bloodline factions continue to war each other, and then eventually, I think Jacob Fatu will win that title back on a Raw or some other PLE down the road. But for now, give me Solo. The story to be told here is Solo winning this match, and I think you'll see more of this feud. This feud is this feud has another year, a year and a half of stuff to squeeze out, and we are only in the honestly in the second inning of this feud. So give me Solo
Yeah,
on this.
the thing is, I mean, Jacob. I mean, he's a guy you do want to, at least put in, point towards getting a world title match at some
Yeah,
point. And right now, I mean, if the road isn't clear, for him to do that, next year at WrestleMania, then you need to keep him occupied for a while.
yeah. And the bloodline storyline keeps you occupied. It writes itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me Solo on this one though. All right, next one. We have a no DQ, no count out, last chance match for the women's Intercontinental Championship between Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. If Lynch wins, Valkyria can no longer challenge for the title for as long as Lynch is champion. This is the blow off. This is it. This is it. We've been saying, you and I, and especially you, have been saying, and look, Lyra's getting a lot of cheers. People are invested in this feud. But when Becky's out the paint, then what? It's easy to get invested when you're playing wrestling, when you're feuding with one of the top stars in the company. But once that person is gone, and you get the title back and whatever, which I think she will for the record. Now what? That's the question. So I'm gonna go Lyra here, obviously. And I think much like with Jade and trying things, I think Triple H, unlike Vince, Triple H is gonna take a lot more chances with these stars, the young talent, and I think Lyra wins, and then we'll see from there. Now there is an element here with Bailey, obviously involved in this feud. They just had a triple threat match recently. So we'll see how that plays out. Bailey could have a lot of say on in this feud as well too. Who knows? Maybe Lyra is feuding with Bailey after this. So there's another person you invested in now.
Um, yeah, because I think it's well, yeah, obviously, yeah, I think the winner. I think Bailey. It looks like we're going to probably get something. Lyra break, splitting off to deal with Bailey, and Bailey may get involved in the match. But well, Bailey's going to be feuding with one of these two ladies after this is over.
Yeah,
Um, Either Bailey and Lyra will be for the title, or Bailey and Becky will just be you know it'll just be beef, right?
would you rather see?
Um,
Because Bailey right now is in a tweener mode right now, right? She's a little bit of a tweener.
yeah, I don't know. Well, because um, I think well, I think with Bailey and Becky, you have more of a chance of having it turn into like a blood feud kind of thing. Um, or something where it's like real heat and between the two people. You know what I mean? Um,
Because they've told that story before in the past, though, but it was the roles were switched though back then.
yeah, and so it's just I think. Oh man, well because it's just all right. If Lara wins the title back and then she goes and has a thing with Bailey next, like I think it's just that ends up being just kind of a foregone conclusion. I think because like I don't think they're gonna have to go through all this with Becky and then win the title back to close it out and then lose it to Bailey a month later, right?
Right.
I don't think they're going to do that. So that would kind of be a no, like a no drama kind of. Well, I think because if Lyra wins the title back, whichever she does, whatever thing she does next is going to be kind of just a, you know, like she ain't losing after that. So I don't know. I mean,
I
but
will say this much though: people are invested in this feud. Lyra has gained a lot of crowd support through the months. Her promos gotten better, so she's trending up. It's just, and I think Triple H is in the business of really, like Vince, he's in the business of trying new things. I think
yeah,
Lyra,
so,
the guardrails are off after this match. I think Lyra wins this match. Now, how we go, how we get there, will there be a Bailey involvement, if at all? We'll see how that plays out. Maybe Bailey does not get involved, and then Bailey approaches Lyra on Raw on Monday. We'll see. But I do think, to me, all signs here point to Lyra win this match no matter what.
yeah, because if not, then well, the word buried is thrown around too much. But
What was all this for in the first place, then, right? What was
yeah,
it?
exactly.
That's hurts Becky. Becky look like the person that's burying her. Who knows? But I don't know. I think Becky doesn't get hurt here because Becky's done everything she could. I think Becky, she's like they're in the problems. Her and Charlotte are at a point now in their careers where they can coast a little bit. They can lose matches here, and it's not going to hurt them because they're not on the ascent anymore.
Well, no, but I think neither one of them is interested in coasting. I don't think.
True. And I think you can always reheat those people when you need to.
Oh yeah, I mean, but yeah,
And that's yeah.
I don't think either one of them is the least bit interested in coasting. But
Right. But you gotta make stars too, also, and I think they understand that too. So give me
yeah,
Lyra.
but at the same time, that's not their responsibility.
True, but it's their job to do what Triple H says. And Triple H sees his job is to create stars, and you just do what Triple H says.
True.
All right. You got a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship between Naomi, the champion, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. This is the match I keep beating my head around. Like, they're not going to pull the rug under Naomi this quick, right? Come on. I mean, I know that in the past with other people, but Naomi's legitimate, man. Naomi is a legitimate, heel, legitimate star. I know Rhea. There's an argument right now at this point that Rhea is the biggest star in the company now. There's a legitimate argument now because she's getting pops
on the women's side. Yes,
on either side. On either side.
No, there are levels to
I
it,
think,
man. It's
brother. I'm watching those pops now.
It's still no. There are levels to it. It is still Roman, brother. Okay.
I don't know the pops that she's getting up for the last year now.
No,
there are louder, levels. Brother.
There are levels to it. It is still Roman. There are levels to it.
In terms of pops, I think they're on level, brother.
In terms, there are again. It is still Roman. Okay.
Okay. So the thing with Roman though is what helps Roman here is the fact that he's been gone for a while. So the old saying, brother, we're close to the same age. Absolute hardcore founder. Whereas Rhea is there every week. Every week it has not gotten stale, dude. It has not gotten stale. It is still red hot.
And okay, but he had no signs of getting stale when he was still there every week. I'm just telling you, man.
Okay, if I'm power ranking right now, not power ranking. If I tell you the three biggest stars in the company right now, Rhea's one of the three. Rhea, Cody, and Punk and Roman. You put him whatever you want to put him, but those are the three biggest stars right now in terms of crowd support, in terms of pop.
I think I'd make it 4. I think it's
Punk,
it's Roman, Punk, Cody, and Rhea. I think.
Having said that, this can go two ways. I don't see Io getting this championship whatsoever, so she's out of the picture for me.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's
right. I think Rhea gets the title back, either gets the title back here, or Naomi wins here and some shenanigans.
Yeah, and well, I really want Naomi to win this. This would
Oh, of
absolutely
course, me too.
because not only, I mean, she's been doing such great work all year, and if they just pull the plug on it, I mean that's the kind of thing that you know sends a subliminal message to the audience. Also, if you pull the plug on it,
Right.
it's basically it's you're telling your audience that, okay, you know what? No, she's not there with these other two. Um, that
And I
after
think
everything she's done this year, and because look, I mean, she's been the most compelling character on the women's side all year.
she has. She really
Hands
has.
down. She has been the best character, the most compelling character on the women's side
I
all
would
year.
argue of all the females right now in this calendar year through 7 months, she has the most compelling story.
Oh, easily. It's not even
And I
close.
don't think it's close. I think Rhea's story is just getting the title back. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else is doing cool stuff, but there's no compelling story. Naomi was a babyface literally when we started this year. Naomi turned on Bianca and Jade. Blood feud with Jade and Naomi. That goes to Mania. And then Naomi wins the briefcase. And then Naomi cashes in. Naomi's story is way more compelling than anybody else's on that side in the division, either Raw or SmackDown. And
And
to pull the plug this soon I think is atrocious, honestly.
what's that? What'd you say?
I think
What'd
pulling the
you say?
plug on Naomi this soon is atrocious.
Um, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, oh man, yeah, I hope they don't. I mean,
And I also think if Rhea was a title, she's so red hot anyway. And again, we sit all the time and say that this Valiant and Chase mode. Okay, she wins the title. Now what?
well, it's
You know
just
what I'm saying?
because yeah, because I mean, honestly, if she wins it back, then you're gonna spend the rest of the year just feeding people to her.
Yeah, I think Rhea will get the belt back within a year. I think she'll get back at WrestleMania where it matters. But
Probably.
between now and WrestleMania, we need to have a compelling story. I think Naomi holding the title is way more compelling than Rhea getting it back at SummerSlam and then now feeding people, feeding people. So give me Naomi win this match.
I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna go ahead and pick her to win because I'm rooting for her to win. I'm gonna pick her to win.
Yeah. Not only that, I think it's the better story.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, because if she loses here, then her story is kind of over, really,
Yeah.
and then then you got nothing with her anymore, and then again, then we got just the rest of the year is gonna be feeding people to Rhea, and that's not at this point. That's not you know that I mean that could get that. I don't think she'll lose any personal popularity, but sometimes you got to get to a point where people aren't as interested in what you're doing on TV if you're not doing like, you know, if you're doing the same old stuff, then even if people still like you, they will lose interest in what you're doing.
I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. All right. And finally, the main event of all main events of the weekend. It is a rematch between John Cena and Cody Rhodes in a street fight for the undisputed WWE Championship. All right. We've been marking this match for months. We predicted that even after WrestleMania that we're gonna get a rematch at SummerSlam. How we get there, the story to tell going forward. Let me ask you a question. I'll ask you again. Cena turned heel in late February of early March actually rather of this year. We did a podcast on that. We reacted to the whole nine. They won the title at Mania.
Yeah.
How do you feel this Cena run has gone so far? Give it a grade.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this. We can like any talk about it being Hogan or Roman is over. It
Done.
is not.
Done.
Yeah. That
No.
conversation is over. Okay. It is not that. Okay. Um,
There's no real
so
story there to be told at this point now. And you know what? You know what makes the difference between Hogan versus those two guys versus what Cena has here? Because there's a endpoint to this whole thing. if we believe that how many dates left he has, what, 12, 13
I
left?
forget. I mean,
Right, but it's cutting down because there's an endpoint to this story. It makes it less compelling.
yeah. And I don't know. I think they've taken some air out of the balloon here because just
Really has.
because he hasn't been around as much the last month, and then like all the art truth kind of you know on and off screen stuff. I yeah, I think it's lost some steam really, and then also the fact that you know what what made the turn such a big thing. Well, one of the things that punctuated the turn was The Rock being involved, and he
That's the next
hasn't.
question.
So
I'm
him being absent also takes a lot of air out of the balloon because we thought that this was ultimately about Cena selling out to The Rock, and The
right.
Rock being kind of the power behind it all, and you know, and but so with him just being absent all of this time, it's just Cena being a jerk,
Well,
and
I'm glad I mentioned that though, Rob, because The Rock has been pushed on grata since Elimination Chamber. We haven't seen anything on The Rock since then, since March. Is this the weekend we see him?
I think I think it would if you want to salvage is the wrong word because it's not in the gutter or anything like that, but if you want to make this if you want to turn things around and make this an actual compelling thing again as we run up to the whatever the end game is, then I think you do need to reintroduce him. And yeah, I mean, because yeah, because I mean, I still think it's a little early to take the belt off of Cena just yet, because if that happens, then you got 4 months of, I guess, well, I still think he's gonna turn back before it's over. But
And we're in August now, so the clock is ticking on that one. And that's another part of this too, also, Rob,
yeah,
because we've seen little things on the internet lately where Cena showing a little bit of like light about like, oh, what if people little sympathy here and there, like sadness and some like a little bit, nothing too obvious, but obvious enough to say, maybe he's having a second thoughts about this. Is this the night where we see the full blown turn back to babyface? Or I've heard people say that is it possible that we get a double turn here where Cody turns to heel? Like, is there a thirst now? We did a segment on this show a couple weeks ago where Cody himself said himself that it will at some point happen. He didn't say when, obviously. It's open ended, obviously. Um, I mean, if there's a time to do it, like I don't think I would turn Cody just yet to heal this early.
no,
Uh,
I still don't think. I mean, outside of the IWC, I don't think the appetite is there for it yet.
no, I think he's still. We just mentioned a couple minutes ago. He's still one of the three biggest, most popular guys in the or people, male or female, in the company. It's too soon. It has to make sense. You don't do things wrestling just to do it. Just to say you did it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly. I mean, timing matters. It needs to make sense. Um, and and then it needs to have the right emotional heft to it for the audience, for the general audience,
Correct.
not for us, right? Not for the IWC, because I mean, the IWC has wanted him to turn, just for the sake of doing it, right?
Mhm.
Um,
I
because
think it's more. I think it's
they
more
think
likely
that's
that. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think well, the IWC didn't wants it because they think that's just a box they need to check, you know. And I think they don't need. I mean, I think you wait. I mean, that's the thing you do when it's needed, or when. Yeah, I think that's when you do it. You don't do it now. I mean, you don't do it. And people just got to be. Well, you shouldn't. If you're watching, and just waiting for when they're going to do it, when they're going to do it, when are they going to do it, then that's not how you should be watching this. I don't. I think look, you just they'll do it. I mean, because they'll do it when it's the right time, and now's not the right time. The appetite isn't there for it. Um, Again, he's the hero to the kids and all that stuff, and you need to wait for that to maybe start to die down a little bit. You know,
Yeah, I think it's more likely that Cena turns here. Not saying he will, but he turns here than Cody turns. I'll say that much. Um, but I do think Cody gets the belt back here because there's nothing really like this Cena. So here's the thing: the actual turn itself, the moment was still big. Cena turning in March was still a big deal. I still remain that the singular turn itself is still a top three turn all time. The singular turn. Now, everything after it is where everything kind of meh, you know? And that's where the Hogan and the Roman thing wins over Cena. Is that not only were their turns huge, everything that proceeded after that was great.
well, then
But
also because there are certain kind of beats you expect. Like, okay, when Hogan turned and they formed the NWO, then for the next few months it was okay. Well, who else is going to join them? Who's going to fight them? Um, right, and then you know Sting and Luger teamed up with the Horsemen for the very first time ever to fight the common enemy, and
mhm,
then Sting walks out, right, and then Hogan's old nemesis Roddy Piper, shows up to take him on.
it was a compelling story.
Yeah, and so there was a lot there, and then a few months after that, the NWO is running over everybody, but then DDP stands up to them, you know, and so there were a
The
lot of
Sting, the Sting story, of course, which lasted for a whole year.
yeah, and then with Roman, there was okay, it started out with him and Jay, then and with Heyman, and then there's a question of okay, well, is Jim when Jimmy's ready to come back, is he going to join or not? And then and then he joined, and then their whole aim was to take over. So then there was a few months of that, and then and then Brock Lesnar, Roman's old nemesis, came back, and they had they had a thing with that for a while, and so they had things going on, right? Um,
Well, you had the thing with Randy with Cena the first month, but again, it was a
but
good
that
match. But
yeah, and then but it came and went, and
yeah, our truth thing was kind of okay. But again, I think the big problem here is that because we know that there's an endpoint already, we can see the endpoint, and he's telling you there's X amount of shows appearances left on the calendar he has between now and the end of 2025. That in itself makes the whole thing dull in comparison to what Hogan did and what Roman did.
and I think, and again, I go back to the Rock being absent because
Yeah.
which it's kind of him being the the power behind it all gives the thing a direction, right? And now there's really no sense of direction to it. It's just kind of just going, and there's no sense of direction to it.
Right.
Um,
We just
and
did
then
good. We
also
just did
so
good. That's it. Yeah. And now it's like, okay, now what? And it's like, okay, we got a good match here and there, and a little moment here and there, but nothing really that's keeping us like, oh my, glued to the TV set. So we're going back to the Cody thing again. Cody gets the belt back most likely on Sunday, and then now what? We have 4 months ahead of us now or 5 months rather, and between not the next like 5 months, the story now is does he turn babyface again?
yeah, and then the thing
That's
is,
the story.
and then the babyface turn isn't going to make a lot of sense. Like if you don't have the Rock there to punish him for failing,
Right.
you know, that's when that would add. Then you know that would make the babyface turn return
Mhm.
stick better because now, I mean, like it's gonna, if it happens, then it just again, if it happens, then it just happens because it's on the calendar, right?
Right.
And if we're just again, if we're just doing, if we're just booking for the calendar, you know, which at times that has been, I think, a valid criticism of Triple H at times, and sometimes he books stuff for the calendar, and that makes some things take too long, and it kind of sticks us in these kind of limbo periods where stuff doesn't, where some things don't really matter for a while. Um, and so with that, when you with the Rock not being a part of this, then everything is just kind of, it's all for the calendar right now,
Right.
and I think that's what's been missing. So look, if Rock doesn't come back, then I think Cena wins the belt back here.
Wait, Cena. Cena or Cody?
I mean, Cody, I'm sorry. If Rock doesn't show up, then if Rock doesn't show up, then I think Cody wins it back here, and then
Yeah, I'm going Cody. I think Cody is the story here now, unless we can throw another angle in this one. What if Seth doesn't cash night one, but maybe night two?
that would,
That's another wrinkle.
yeah,
We can't rule it out. There's already heat, Cody and Seth heat. It's not hard to re-hit that one again. That Cody
no,
Seth match feud from 2022 or 23 was 22.
22, yeah,
Was pretty damn good. That is not hard to reheat again.
yeah,
So I think you can't rule that part out either.
yeah,
But I'll go Cody for the win, and Cody will likely clear the night and leave as champion. But this is a little open ended here. The Rock angle, Cody, Cena the turns. Is there a turn? Is there a double turn? I doubt Cody turns at all, but I'm not gonna give it a 0% chance. I won't take off the table. And then the Seth angle. Seth may actually impact both these main event matches. Or maybe he doesn't cash in. Maybe he cashes in, tries to cash in and fails. Night one and night two, he tries and he hits it. Who knows? There's a lot of things there. There's a lot of open-ended things this show. So this is gonna be a very compelling show here in general. Look, I don't think the bill for the SummerSlam was as enticing as other ones, but that also could mean that we may have a great show in general. Now I'll be obviously my issue is that both nights I will be busy. I know night one I'll be at a luau, here locally, with some friends. Now I'll probably have the show on my phone or something like that. So I'll watch on the show. I'll be home in time to watch the end of the show definitely. And then night two I'm gonna be in Orlando. I'm going to Disney on Monday morning. But I'm going to the water park on Sunday and then go to the hotel. So if I'm in a hotel room by Sunday night, I'll probably watch the show at a hotel room. And watch it, of course, and of course, you have mobile, so having a mobile phone and being able to watch it on your phone is actually, fine. So I won't be in my home to watch the both either of these nights. So, we'll see. But I think this is going to be a very very compelling show, nonetheless. Lots of open-ended things here. SummerSlam again on Peacock this weekend. Cannot wait. All right, let's get to our top fives here. So we were talking about top five SummerSlam matches. SummerSlam has now existed for 37 years. Which was before I ask you this, what was the first ever SummerSlam you watched live? The first one you watched in real time?
let's see, 91, because
Was it really?
because yeah, because we didn't get pay-per-view, and I had an aunt who would order them and for me, and she would just say like, "This is your birthday present" or whatever.
That's awesome.
And then she would tape it for me, and then so I would always see them like a couple of weeks later for up until like, yeah, I mean, my first go round as a fan, yeah, I saw stuff. Yeah, if I saw a pay-per-view, it was always like a couple of weeks later. So basically, kind of like a tape delay almost.
Right.
So the first one I watched live was 91 because a friend of mine ordered it, and we went to his house and watched it.
Mine was 89. The second one. I was at my aunt's house also. No story, simple story, where me and my cousins and my stepdad's nephews and nieces and stuff. We went to their house and we watched it in real time. It was kind of cool seeing the Zeus character come to life. Uh, as a 9-year-old at the time, I was, oh my god, this guy could really destroy Hulkamania. This guy, big black, strong, muscular dude. Twisting his neck and all this crap. I bought into that feud. In hindsight, it's stupid as shit. In hindsight,
it was
but
terrible.
if you were a fan as a 9-year-old, that was what Vince McMahon wanted you to suck you in for, the cartoon. It was a cartoon. Yeah. It was a cartoon. So, man, I was invested in that feud. We were coming off the Savage feud. Well, I still don't know the Savage feud really, but the end of it, him and Hogan, probably just broken up months before that. So, but that was my first SummerSlam. All right, so let's go ahead and get our top 5. We're going to order 5 to 1. Rob the Genius, what is your 5th most favorite SummerSlam match of all time?
My 5th most favorite is the 4-way main event from SummerSlam 2017. It's Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar.
And
interesting. That was
is that the one where Braun Strowman they were trying to put that's the one that pretty much put the kibosh on Braun Strowman's push?
Well, it was the show after that one because Brock and Braun had a singles match at the next pay-per-view. And that was the one where, because the match was just kind of okay, and then Brock didn't think Braun was that guy, and that you could kind of see it there. And then from that point forward, yeah, that's when things started to kind of drop off for Braun. But this match, it was bonkers, and like this was the middle of the best run Samoa Joe ever had.
Yeah.
That
was before their match at the Great Balls of Fire, right? I think.
Yeah, and then exactly, he had the month before that, they had a match at Great Balls of Fire, and then the month before that, the month before that, he went, he won like a fatal 5-way to get the title shot. He won that at Extreme Rules, and I went to that one, and oh man, we loved it when when Joe won, because nobody was really expecting it. Because like Roman and Seth were in that match, and Finn Balor was in that match, and Bray Wyatt, and so nobody really had Joe winning, and then he pulled it out.
Yeah. All right.
But this, because they all went. I mean, they all took turns just beating the crap out of each other in this match. It was a lot of fun.
Right. All right. My number 5 actually is Brock versus Cena for 2014. Because this was the justification, you understood, if you know the business, this is why they had Brock beat the streak, because it triggered everything we saw after that. And then you go from beating Taker in the streak, and then you end up not only beating the guy for the last 10 years in the company, but dominating him. It's the debut of Suplex City. And you guys know I'm a Brock Lesnar mark. I love Brock Lesnar. One of my top 6-7 guys in history of wrestling. Whenever, to me, pro wrestling is more awesome when Brock Lesnar is involved in it. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. And to me, it just justified everything that run. That match, the fact that you book him to not just beat John Cena, but to dominate him the way he did, was it only added why he was the right guy to end Taker's streak. So that's why I had his number 5. I also love the way, even the match was one-sided, I still love the match anyway, because it was the story. It's the story of domination. The return 2 years prior, you beat Taker for the, you beat Taker at Mania, the end of the streak, you shocked, everybody shocked, all that, but then you see why. Oh yeah, that's why. This guy's a motherfucking badass. And he's dominating Cena now 4 months later. Yeah, makes sense. So, yeah, number 5 for me. Number 4 for you. What you got?
Number 4, I have the original TLC match in 2000.
Say it again?
The original TLC match in 2000.
Ooh, okay, okay. That was the first one. Yeah,
Yes, because at WrestleMania that year they had a
ladder match.
yeah it was a ladder match with some tables involved,
Right,
and then this was kind of like the escalation, like the next the taking it to the next level,
right.
and so they did a lot more in this match than they did in that first one,
Hmm.
and so that was the one. This was the one, and that point like Edge and Christian were kind of at their peak, and you had the Dudleys and the Hardys, and yeah, I mean, so for me, you just saw so much like kind of innovative stuff come out of that match that of course would get taken up, kicked up another notch later.
Yeah, yeah. It was a great match. I remember that match. It was a great match. All right, my number four is actually from 1989. The real main event, really, to show the best match on the entire card. It has Ultimate Warrior versus Ravage McRude. And to me, by the way, the best matches of the ones they've done between Mania 5, SummerSlam here, main events, and then SummerSlam the very next year. This is by far the best one. This was the match they probably told Vince, okay, he's next guy. Because once he beat Rude, okay, after losing to Rude in WrestleMania 5, this is where you started fast tracking the Warrior. Not fast tracking, but you start looking the Warrior as the next guy. Because you figure Vince and the company looking out 9 months out, 8 months out. Okay, so WrestleMania 6, who is the main event? We know Hogan's gonna be there. Who is
Yeah,
his opponent? We already used up Savage already. We can't go back to Andre because Andre's on the way out.
yeah,
Who's the next guy? And we realize, I think this is when they realize, okay, Warrior's the next guy. So this match, I think, did that. It was a great story because the Warrior Rude story is always great. He had Roddy Piper's return at 5. He was not active really too much yet, and then he distracts Rude in the match. It was a great match. I thought Warriors one of Warriors' better matches. We talk about Warriors' best matches all time. With Savage and Hogan, and obviously those would make sense. But Rude was the next guy too also. And for all the shit about Warrior gets, this match he put on his working boots in this one. So I'll give it. I love the story in this one. I'll take Warrior Rude from '89. All right, number 3. What do you got?
number three. Okay, now I'm gonna warn everybody.
Did you
It's
wait, wait,
time.
did you did your screen did your
Say it
screen
again.
freeze? Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Did your
Yeah,
screen freeze by the way? No. I can hear you fine. I can
oh, it's just yeah, just I wasn't pushing any buttons or anything, so it did freeze. Cause just from
okay.
it went to the black screen. Okay, I'm
Okay.
back
I
now.
don't see anything
You
right
can see that.
now. Okay, I see you
Okay,
though, but I don't
okay. So all right, so I'm gonna warn everybody. Now's where I get this is where I start making homer picks. Okay.
mhm.
So for me, number three was Charlotte versus Trish from 2019,
Oh. That was
and
a good match, actually. Remember that.
for all the reasons we talked about before. And and look, I tend to not watch matches where my favorite people lose, so the fact that she won is adds to that. So
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good match, actually. That's actually my first SummerSlam I watched coming back after 17 years of not watching. So that wasn't from Toronto. Um
yes,
yeah. My number 3, I'm gonna be a homer here now. It's from the first SummerSlam. And that's between the Mega Powers and Mega Bucks. Again, like I said, it isn't the greatest match in the world, but there's a story there. There's a story within stories. This is the pretty much the very end of the Hogan Andre story. Savage is champion now at this point. So Savage and DiBiase had just met at Mania 4, and he's already wrapped up in the whole story with Andre Hogan because of the title and all that, you know. And then you have Hogan go away for a couple months after WrestleMania 4, and then they jump Savage 2 months later, and then Savage calls back Hogan, and it's Hogan's first match back after 4 or 5 months. It sets up the next string of story before the Mega Powers explode a year later, less than a year later rather. But it also reminds me of what great storytelling is. Like Andre was his best, obviously, the match. You also get Liz, of course, the skirt, and then the reveal. You know, Jesse is a referee as well too. It's just a great storytelling. Like I said, wasn't the greatest match in the world, but the storytelling and then the investment in the story. Where you're wrapping up one story with the Andre Hogan thing and the all that, but you also resurfacing a new story of the Mega Powers and where they're at now as a team. So I'll go at number 3 for this one. This is kind of similar to what I was saying about Charlotte and Alexa versus you know, Raquel and Roxanne. You take elements of that. I think this match has elements of what you're going to get from what I mentioned about Charlotte and Alexa. So number 3 is Pat Mega Powers Mega Butts. All right, number 2. What you got?
Okay, going to another homer pick. This is
All
from
right.
2021. This is Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Cross. It's a triple threat match for the Raw Women's title. So Charlotte had beaten Rhea the month before at Money in the Bank, and then Nikki cashed in the briefcase on her the next night.
What year is this again?
It was 2021.
Okay.
And so they went back and forth for the next few weeks to set this match up. And for me, also this is one where Charlotte came out in the robe. It was in a Thanos themed robe, which and I was like, like on the lapel was like the Infinity Stones, and and so she came out there, and it was a really good match, and of course she won, which is why it's on the list for me.
I'm happy, of course. But again, the list is personal favorites. So
yeah,
I'm not going to say it's wrong because it's your favorite.
Yeah, and for me, because look, I was really pissed off when they had Nikki cash in the briefcase on her, because that was the third time somebody cashed in the damn briefcase on her. Okay, and so I was so satisfied when she put Nikki in the figure 8 and made her tap out in the middle of the ring. So.
Right.
And by the way, the crowd was cheering for her when she won the match. For those of you who think nobody ever likes her, okay.
This was the first SummerSlam with crowds, I think. Yeah, this is after when. Yeah. I like it. It's been a while since I watched it, but yeah, I like it. My number 2 is actually really cool. I watched the match for the first time in a long time recently, and my number 2 is Bret Hart versus Undertaker for 1997. I forgot how great this match is. We talk about the ending all the time and what this match triggered between the HBK and Taker Stories result, and then of course Bret, in the Montreal Screwjob and all that stuff. But the actual match was great. Taker was champion. Taker came out as champion. This is Bret's final time winning the title there in the company. But great storytelling, great match in general. WWE's doing a countdown on their on YouTube, and they had this match ranked, I think 23, whatever it was. And we're gonna obviously review that in the weeks to come when we touch on on next episodes or whatever the show. And that's right now. Just tell you right now, spoiler. That ranking is way too low for the record. Way too low, because that match was great. What it did for the company, because it was one of the last matches where the Attitude Era launched. It was just so compelling. Everything was so compelling about it. So, and I watched it recently. Again for the first time in a little while, and I was reminded how good the match was. I mean, that's Bret's prime, man. That is, to me, is Bret's prime. 97 is Bret's best year, and it's not. I would argue, I would take Bret's 1997 versus almost any wrestler in the company in pro wrestling. That was a dominant year in terms of work rate, on the stick, storytelling, and the whole nine. Bret Hart was red hot in 1987, which is why it pains me that how things ended up in Survivor Series.
So. Yeah, and one day we need to do a whole show about the screw job. And everything.
We should. We really should. I think we'll do that in Survivor Series season. Probably we'll do a whole show like that.
And I would recommend, he may not be your cup of tea, but if he happens to be, I would recommend to listen to Jim Cornette's whole commentary about everything leading up to the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah, the Omnibus. Yeah.
Because he was there. Yeah, he was privy to a lot of the talks and discussions and all of that, and he's one of the few people that doesn't have a reason to lie to any of us about it.
That's the thing with Jim Cornette, though. Jim Cornette's crazy. He's crazy in the head, and you don't have to like him. But one thing about Jim Cornette, I know I'm not getting. He's not lying. I don't look like a liar. He may be crazy, and some of his opinions may be fucked up, but he's not a liar. He's pretty up there. So yeah, we'll do that one of these days. But yeah, that match triggered that whole thing. So all right, number one, Rob, what you
Number
got?
one, um, Warrior and Honky Tonk Man.
You know that almost made my five.
Because,
It
like, for
almost did.
me,
It really did.
I mean, it was everything you want in a big moment. And, you know, Honky Tonk Man, and again, he's been Intercontinental Champion for over a year. And he just, he had escaped all of these people, Steamboat and Jake Roberts and Savage and Brutus Beefcake. He had escaped all of them, for over a year. And, he always found some way to wiggle out of it or get disqualified or whatever. And then, and this just came out of nowhere because, Warrior was he was slowly moving up, but like, there were no indication that he was going to get like the big push just yet. But he'd gotten popular. People like his look and the energy and all of that stuff. And then, then just, you know, the music hit, and, and Honky Tonk Man, facial expression changed, and then he runs down the aisle, and he hits the ring, and he just wipes him out in 30 seconds. And I know it was not a 5-star match, but this was, I mean, this really, I mean, that put the show on the map, right? That
Yeah,
made
it did.
that happening made that meant now that this SummerSlam thing, okay, I need to watch this every year because, this isn't just, they're not just going through the motions, they're not just doing another show, right? Something big happens here, right?
That moment has a feel of a Money in the Bank cash in. The way that they did that.
Yeah, because he was unexpected,
Yeah.
and it's yeah, because it's the same, and it was finally doing, like, because all this time you wanted somebody just to come in there and just beat the crap out of Honky Tonk Man, and all these guys were having proper wrestling matches with him and all of that, and he was always finding a way to escape. So then
Yeah.
just somebody just runs down to the ring and beats the crap out of him in
Yeah.
30 seconds.
And again, you said it correctly. Like when you look at the Honky's 14-month lane, why did he hold his house so long? Why it made sense? Look at he evaded so many great wrestlers. He evaded Jake Savage, Jake Savage, Steamboat, and this guy who had no business holding the belt did it because he was sneaky as hell. You have the Jimmy Hart factor as well too. Peggy Sue, the whole nine. Um, I would argue even 37 years later that actually might be the biggest moment in SummerSlam history.
Yeah, I mean, I think so because
It launched Warrior into the stratosphere immediately.
it launched. Yes, it did that because, again, he had been kind of slowly moving up. He was not somebody that it, he was not somebody at that point where it was obvious they were going to do a big push for him.
Right.
He had not reached that point yet where it was obvious what they were doing. It So he was another guy in the mid card who looked intriguing and was gaining some popularity, but there are a lot of those guys come along all the time, and most of them, you know, don't end up in the main event, right? So just because just because somebody starts making, just because somebody might catch your eye a little bit, and and they might be moving up slowly through the mid card, doesn't mean anything is going to come of it, right? So he hadn't gotten to that point yet, and so for them to, like, it came out of nowhere. It really did. Um, and again, it put the show on the map because it meant, it, like, because the first SummerSlam was a pretty uneventful show
Yeah,
most
for
of
the most part. And not only that, because of the part of the house shows, there weren't really any major consequential things that happened or matches that happened outside of
yeah,
the Bucks and maybe one more match. That's it.
yeah, and because everything just had to, um, everything was just basically like conveying back to keeping the house show stuff going.
Yeah.
So this was this was the big event. This was the big happening of the show, and it was what made the show worth paying money for.
Yeah, I like I said, it's definitely one of our mentions. I almost put in my top five. I almost did. My number one though is from my favorite SummerSlam of all time. What I believe is also the best work rate show of all the SummerSlams. It's from the 2002 SummerSlam. It is the unsanctioned match between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. That match, Shawn Michaels' first match in 4 years. The story between the two, um, the start of Shawn Michaels' second run. Um, the match it was just incredible. It's 5 stars and then some. I watched it again recently and it still ages well. Um, Again, it's what makes me love wrestling in those matches. Shawn Michaels still had it. It was supposed to be his only match back. There was no talk him staying longer. This is one match, and he did the match, and then beat Triple H, and then won the title a couple months later, Survivor Series. But that match is incredible. It's a phenomenal match. It's one of those matches that really, especially back then, not only obviously Shawn Michaels was phenomenal and all that, but it made me also respect Triple H too. It's like, wow, he's a great worker too. He's a phenomenal worker. And I don't know that match is just, I watch that match very often because it's this compelling storytelling that in the match. It's Shawn Michaels spots fest and it has everything in the match you want for him in those two guys. So that's my favorite SummerSlam match of all time. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, well, it's funny because that's when I was starting kind of to fade out again.
I fade out at that point. I left actually 2 months before that.
Okay, yeah, because yeah, I did not stick it because WrestleMania 18. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much dropped off almost immediately after that.
I
Yeah, I
did.
got
I was gone. I was gone a month after WrestleMania 18. So same here.
yeah,
Same here.
I went very casual for about a month or so, and then after that, I yeah, I was on by the time this SummerSlam 2002 happened, I was out pretty much.
Yeah.
And part of it for me was look, I was a major card carrying Jerichoholic, and I was just not happy with the way they did they did my boy at WrestleMania 18.
Right.
And the lead up to it also. I was just like, yeah, come on, man, what are we doing?
Right.
And so I just and that kind of started pushing me out. And yeah, so I've only watched the unsanctioned match like once.
You should watch
And
it again. It's really, I mean, that entire SummerSlam is amazing. There's not one bad match in that card. I remember. Even Brock and Rock is 4.5 stars, almost 5 stars. So I watched that SummerSlam I think last year, and it ages well. It really does. So all right, one more thing we get out of here. Speaking of SummerSlam, it is also the this year the 20th anniversary of SummerSlam, um 2005. If I can get this up real quick, I can work.
while you're doing that,
Second.
there's some music news here. Um, so Foo Fighters and Nine Inch
Oh,
Nails are
what is it?
trading drummers. You hear me?
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
it said
Yeah, I hear you.
so it said former Foo Fighter Josh Freese is going to Nine Inch Nails, and Ilian Rubin is going over to Foo Fighters. They're trading drummers.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. All right.
Because I know Foo Fighters has been trying to replace Taylor Hawkins since he passed.
Right. But I know they also fired their guy too, also recently, like a month or two
Okay.
ago. Well, the guy
Which
some of that stuff.
yeah, Dave Dave loves to fire band members.
I don't know. It's
Yeah, if you're not working for him, then you're out of there.
yeah. It don't work for me, brother.
Exactly.
All right, I'm looking. I've got it right now. Where
Okay.
is it? 5. All right, here it is, right here. All right, so SummerSlam 2005 took place August  21st, 2005, in Washington D.C. at the MCI Center. 18 attendance was 18,176. The buy rate was 650,000. The tagline was Hogan versus Michaels for the first time ever. Did you watch this by any chance? Real time you
No,
were not watching, right?
I was out, and which is kind of sucks because that was literally right in my backyard.
I was gonna ask you that too, because you in your backyard.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was. Yeah, the MCI Center is in Washington D.C., and it's not far from where I work actually. And yeah, and so, but at that point, I was all the way out. At that point, I wasn't.
Yeah, me
I
too.
wasn't. Yeah, I was not even like paying attention at all at that point. So yeah, I missed this entire show.
All right, so here you have here are the matches here. They had 9 matches. On one, I think one was pre-shoot. Well, actually, one was on Sunday Night Heat. Chris Masters beating the Hurricane in the singles match. You had Chris Benoit defeat Orlando Jordan in 25 seconds for the U.S. Championship. You had Edge with Lita defeat Mike Hardy by technical knockout rather. Yeah, Rey Mysterio defeat Eddie Guerrero in a ladder match for custody of Dominic. Yeah, Kurt Angle defeat Eugene with Christine Hem for the singles match for Kurt Angle's Olympic medal. Uh, this match was amazing here. Randy Orton defeating the Undertaker in a singles match. Yeah, John Cena, the champion, who just won the title for the first time a couple months earlier at WrestleMania, defeat Chris Jericho, your boy. You got Batista, also champion, defeat JBL for the championship. And then, of course, the main event, the match, the biggest thing here is Hulk Hogan defeating Shawn Michaels for in the singles match. Obviously, the big story in this whole thing, obviously, is the Hogan Shawn Michaels thing, and Shawn Michaels no selling and whatnot. Do you, the whole thing with Shawn selling everything, overselling rather. Um, that was real, right? That was a real thing. Him being a bitch, being like a bad
Yeah,
employee again.
yeah, I think because
Because
yeah,
remember, this is good Shawn. This is Shawn. Christ saved the whole nine. So Shawn doing this now is like, oh,
like
why?
I think this was one of the first indicators where like people were showing they were done with Hogan's shit.
You mean backstage?
Yeah. Yes, because that's what this. I mean, this was basically just a big fu to him, basically. And
But
again, at this point, this wasn't something you would expect from Sean, but he did it, and nobody seemed to be mad about it.
yeah, it was crazy. It was nuts.
I mean, I've never watched the whole thing. I've only watched like some little bits and pieces of it,
I
but yeah,
watched the match only one time, and that was literally, I think, 2019 when I was started. Like when I came back, I started watching all the old matches, and I wanted to see, um, to see, okay, what's the big deal about this? And obviously, Hogan was still red hot. This would be Hogan's second to last SummerSlam. This is Hogan's first SummerSlam appearance since 1991. I'm trying to see anything else of note here. But yeah, so basically, is it was this because of creative differences between the two?
yeah, I think so because I think it was, yeah, I'm not sure what the differences were, but it was. I think Hogan pulled some of his bullshit, and so Sean was like, okay, fine, whatever. And but he went out there and he completely just oversold everything to the point of it being just hilarious. And I think like the very next night when he was back on TV, basically he was like, yeah, um, because well he turned heel basically just to do that match, and I think that might have been the thing that pissed him off because
Yeah, in fact, in the match when Hogan won, Shawn Michaels shook his hand.
yeah, and so I think at that point, I don't know if he just thought it was dumb to do like a snap heel turn just for one match or what. But basically, the night after he came out on Raw and basically just he even admitted it, like, this was all bullshit, and he went right back to being a babyface again. I think
And
so.
not only that, they never did a match again. They did a match again. That was they put the kibosh on that pretty quickly.
Yeah, and
I should definitely do a more deep dive on that whole situation. If
yeah,
what,
I need to also.
yeah, what behind the scenes on that one, but obviously we're reeling from the Hogan passing away, 6 days ago as a recording. But yeah, it's one of those things where like two legends, two legends that help the business, especially Shawn Michaels too. We know Hogan, how great he is. Yeah, I need to do a deep dive on this situation though. But I also haven't watched the SummerSlam. I think I watched the SummerSlam. I think once. I think one time. But I need to deep dive it one of these days. But yeah. Trying to find anything else notable from this event. From this event that matters. It was MCI Center. Let me see here. No, nothing really of note really that took place here. So I don't know. Anyway, all right. Anyway, Rob, go ahead and plug away, man. What you got?
All right. So as always, hear me, DJ and Jason on the Mindless Wrestling Podcast, and every couple of weeks you can hear me on the Rob the Genius Podcast, and you can, if you want to read some stuff I've written, you can read it at robsagenius.com.
Anything new there?
Well, no, I've updated a couple of things, because I do one of the things I just do because I like to keep track of numbers and stuff. I've been for a few years. I've been tracking just like how many women's matches are getting booked on TV and whatnot on the various shows to see how people are doing. I've updated that, and also I've kept like a running account of the women's tag team champions and how and just kind of rank them like who was good, who was great, who was bad, and according to how things were booked for them, because that's been a kind of a contentious point ever since those titles were created, because sometimes they get treated really well and sometimes they get treated like garbage.
Right. Right. Makes sense. All right. Of course, I am on X/Twitter at EJChris7. Follow Scott anywhere, of course, part of the Earnestly podcast. You can find on iTunes, of course, on Apple Music, on Spotify, you name it. Especially the YouTube page, Earnestly Pod on YouTube. Clips of the show on TikTok and Instagram at Earnestly Pod as well too. Until the next episode, when we record it again, we will come back. We'll talk to you guys soon. Enjoy SummerSlam weekend, and until next one, we'll talk to you later.